say the least. But I got off of everything. I've been totally clean from all drugs for 8 years, and I'm very proud of that. And this video is to kind of help you guys, not kind of, it is to help you guys in hopes to help you. And I asked you to ask me questions, whether it be about what I went through, or if you were dealing with it, or if somebody you know is dealing with it. So we are just going to touch on that topic. And I just want to say first and foremost that if you are dealing with any form of addiction, whether it's to, medication, or to hard drugs, or to alcohol, or to gambling, or to shopping. I mean, there's so many forms of addiction, right? And a lot of times it's hard for us to see. The people around us usually see it first. But I want you to know that you're not alone. And there's definitely help out there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my computer. I have not gone through these questions yet, and we're going to go through them together. Just real quick, before we get into it, I just want to remind you that I do have a Patreon where I do the majority of videos like this, where I go into more personal stuff regarding my life. Just because it's a smaller platform, I feel more comfortable there talking about my personal life. And you guys get to kind of choose what content you want to see there. You get 3 or 4 videos per month for $5, and it is all ad free. And I'm doing a really fun giveaway over there right now, and I do giveaways sporadically. Makeup, I'm doing a jewelry piece right now, gift cards, things like that. So if you're interested in more ASMR content from me that you're not going to see here on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter, you can check out the link down below. But for tonight, let's get into these questions, shall we? So I have my computer, my laptop right below me here. I'm just going to start going through the questions. I'm going to do like them randomly, so pick one from the top, one from the middle, one from the bottom. I think that's the fairest way to do it. So I did want to let you guys know real quick before I start to answer your questions that I did take my hardship, which was my addiction, and turn it into a positive by taking my experience and applying it to what I do now for my career, and what I'm going to continue to do. I'm only working part-time right now, but I need to finish out my schooling, and then I'll be doing it full-time. So I am getting to help others that have dealt with similar things that I've gone through, and I think it really helps when you are getting help from somebody who's been through that similar thing, if that makes sense. Our first question tonight comes from Worm the Fish. They asked, when did you know that you were addicted and that you couldn't just stop when you wanted to? Well, unfortunately, people around me knew before I did. But the first time that I really realized it was when I was unable to go to the doctor because I was out of town and I ran out of my medication that I was being prescribed, and I started to feel sick, like physically sick, mentally, just very irritable and angry. Wanted to leave our vacation so I could hurry up and get back to the doctor, and I'm like, So just know that I don't deal with that here. So there's that. But back to what I was saying, I think at that point I knew that I was in too deep, and I didn't at first. I did not want help at all. If you watch my original video, I got pulled over, and that really changed everything for me because I ended up going through court. And I had to get clean. I had to get off the medication. And that wasn't easy at all. But it was worth it. And I'm so grateful for that court. And I'm very, very, very blessed to be sitting in that court now, but on the other side of things, helping others. So cool. The next question is from Rizzle Gaming. How do you feel being 8 years clean? By the way, well done. We are so proud. Thank you. It feels amazing, and I tell people all the time that the best way for me to explain it is it's like it was somebody else's life, if that makes any sense. I feel like that time of my life, I was such a different person. The medication made me very different. They were opiates, by the way. And I didn't care about anything but that. And it just changed me. I was dismissive. I was nasty. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to spend time with family or friends. I was just very consumed. And, it took some time. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't just wake up, the day after I was prescribed the medication and be addicted. I was prescribed those meds for about 1.5 years, so it was probably about 6 months in that I started to realize that I needed them. And yeah, I just feel like that Rachel was not me. And one of the first things my mom said to me when I got clean is that she had her daughter back. Okay. The next question is from Priscilla Barino. Did you go through a detox program, and did they help you find a rehab? My sister was addicted for 10 years, and unfortunately I lost her battle 3 years ago. I'm so sorry. She had nowhere to go after detox. The rehab had no beds left for her. So proud of you for acknowledging you had a problem and got help. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm so sorry about your sister. I can't tell you how many people I've known from working in the field of addiction, and just people in general that I've known in my life that have lost their lives to addiction. And that's why I shared my story on my channel, because I feel like it's not spoken about enough. And when unfortunately, a lot of people think addict of like not me, right? Not the person you see in front of you. But anybody can turn into an addict. There's no discrimination in addiction. The police chief of our town was caught stealing medication from a safe drop box, and he ended up getting caught, and it came out that he was addicted to medication. There's no discrimination. asked, during rehab, were there times you thought you wouldn't get through your addiction? Well, during my recovery, yes. Yes. Like, as in make it, like, did I think I was gonna die? Towards the end, I did. Yeah. And I came close a couple times, unfortunately, and I am extremely blessed to still be here, filming for you guys and being able to be a mom. I got clean, before I had my son, thank God, 2 years before. And, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if I was still living that life. The next question is from Soph Amorg, A-M-O-R-G. She asked, what were you addicted to? How are you feeling now? Are you ever tempted to do it again? First question, what were you addicted to? Pain medication that I was prescribed. Second question, how are you feeling now? I feel great. I never, well, knock on wood, I wish there was wood around me, but one of the things that I was told while I was getting clean and going to meetings and counseling and things was that it gets better with time, and I would roll my eyes at those people like, you don't know what you're talking about. No, it doesn't. Maybe it did for you, but it's not going to for me. It truly does. And my life is so different than my life then that I never think about it. I never, wanted, none of it. Because for me, towards the end, right before I got clean, I was so miserable. I was not a happy person with my life, and I hated being addicted. I hated it. In the beginning, it was fun and whatever. I enjoyed it, the way it made me feel. But towards the end, I didn't. And I am grateful for that, because I know a lot of people that didn't get to that point. It's very hard for them to stay clean because they remember that, they loved, being on whatever the drug of choice or alcohol of choice was. For me, I think about the bad, because most of it was all bad. And I'm just very happy with my life, and would never want to go back to the life I had before, so that really helps me to stay clean. And last question, are you ever attempted to do it again? No, not at all, not at all, which again is a blessing. The next question, I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce the name. Evine Natoya, maybe. She said, even though that was a dark time of your life, almost a decade ago, do you feel like people around you are afraid you might relapse again? Do you sometimes get that vibe from little everyday things, behaviors, even if you don't understand they're doing it? You still sometimes get that vibe from little everyday behaviors, even if they don't understand they're doing it. I don't really understand that last question, but I can answer the first one. Do people around me think that I'm going to ever? No, they do not. Like I said, I'm so different from who I was back then. Everybody knows that I would never do it. I would never do it. I'm talking like never. You couldn't offer me $1 million to put another pill in next question I think is a very important question. It's from Kate McIntyre. Kate asked, do you ever feel like you are a victim of poor medical practice? What's your opinion on doctors over prescribing opioid pain medication? We're also glad that you are doing well. You are super strong and such an inspiration. Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate that. Yes, I do. Like I said, my mom reached out to this group of doctors and threatened to write a letter to our local newspaper and expose them and go to the news station and talk about it. And she actually wrote out the letter and everything. But by the time that she was going to go ahead and go forth with everything, I ended up getting pulled over and getting into court and getting clean. So she didn't go through with it. And I think there was another reason why she didn't go through with it, but I don't remember what it was. Maybe she did send it in. I'll have to ask her. But the doctor's office essentially ignored her, and they are still in business, still prescribing medication. I feel like from 8 years ago to today, it's a lot harder to get pain medication. And the last video I did, I had some idiot comment and say, you addicts are the reason that we can't get pain medication, that it's that hard for people who really need the medication to get it. It's like, first of all, you're gonna blame the addict when it's the doctor writing the prescriptions. I had never been addicted to anything a day in my life before I was given so many different medications that I did not need. They didn't even examine me when I went to go see that doctor. They just said, how are you feeling? Rate your pain from 1 to 10. I could have said a 20 and they wouldn't even looked into it. And then they wrote the script and sent me home. And we did that once a month. To blame the person and not the doctor is just disturbing. And I understand that there are cancer patients and people out there that really need pain medication. That's why it's made, right? That's why it's even distributed and put on the market. But I think that's very careful to monitor it and to have the doctor watching the people closely and not keeping the people on the medication after they don't need it anymore, because that's when your body becomes dependent. Like I said, I think these doctors are getting better with not prescribing as much opioids, but they still have a long way to go. There still needs to be a lot more changes made, and I feel like with everything going on in the world, addiction has kind of taken a back seat, and so many addicts are struggling right now. That's why I'm making this video. The next question is from Gemma. First, who did you speak to about your addiction? What help did you receive for it? So as I said, I got pulled over and got put into a court that essentially made me get clean in order to get out of the court program and get everything dismissed and wiped off of my record. I had to complete the program, and in order to complete it, I had to complete counseling. So I had a counselor, I had to go to groups, I had to go to AA and NA meetings, and easiest way to get hold of me is on Patreon, but if you can't be a patron for whatever reason, you can always try Instagram. But my Instagram messages are so flooded that it's a little crazy over there, but I try my best. I'm gonna answer 2 more questions that I think are important. The next one is from Blue Cola. They asked, how long did it take for the people in your life to trust you again? It's been 3 years sober for me, and the relationship with my family is still rocky because of the things I did in the past. Love you. Bella. Blue Cola. Blue Cola. Congratulations on 3 years. That's amazing. It took a bit. I think it was around 5-year mark that it seemed like my mom and my family was comfortable and just felt secure in my sobriety and in who I was as a person, and knows me in my heart and trusts in my sobriety, trusts in me. So, they're very damaged because, as you know, when you are in active addiction, whether it be alcoholism, whether it be, whatever drug, gambling, whatever it may be, any form of addiction, you hurt people around you because all your focus is on that addiction, and along comes with hurting the people around you. So they went through so much trauma and they're scarred from that. So it's gonna take some time, but the more time you have, the more time that heals. So keep going, take one day at a time. I tell people all the time that I stay humble. Every single day I stay humble because I know that it could be gone that quick, right? So keep doing you, girl. You're amazing. The next question is from one of my sweet supporters for so long. I love you so much, and I appreciate you. The Notebook Girl. The Notebook Girl asked, how can others help those who are addicted? Whether they have family members or people we know in the community. That's a great question. It's very sweet of you to ask. I would say that you can offer to take them to a meeting. There's meetings everywhere. There's meetings online. You can give them information about how they can get help, and try and say it in a way that's not aggressive, because a lot of times if an addict feels like they're pushed into a corner or they feel like they're being attacked, they shut down, right? Just like anybody else would do. So I would say just be gentle with them. They're going through a lot. They're damaged and they have a lot of work to do on themselves. It's going to take time. So I'd say just be gentle. Be gentle, be kind, be kind. But you have to also not enable, because there's a thin line between enabling and helping. So, don't give them money. Offer to, if they say, oh, I need money for a cab, how about I drive you instead? Things like that. Oh, I need money for food. How about we go out to eat, spend some time together? Okay, things like that. Hopefully that helps. The last question from Julian Davis. How long did your withdrawal symptoms last? How can a person be the most supportive to a person going through withdrawals trying to get clean? Also, congratulations on 8 years clean. Thank you, sweetheart. Julian, for me, they lasted, my physical withdrawals because then when you take it away, it doesn't just go back to normal. It takes about a year to go back to normal. And stop constantly thinking about the addiction and just all of it. Takes a little bit of time, but again, so very worth it. So very worth it. I can't stress that enough. And lastly, she asked, how can a person be the most supportive to a person going through withdrawals, trying to get clean? As I kind of just said in that thing before, but if they're going through withdrawals, they need help. They need to go to a detox. And, if they say, oh, it's not the right time, I have a job, I have a dog, give them every option to go. You can talk to your boss, tell them you need time off, or quit your job and get a new one. Like, you being sober and healthy is more important than any job. Don't let them give you excuses, because that's all that it is an excuse. They're just trying to put it off so that they can continue to feed their addiction. There's never a good time to do something like that. You need to just do it. The earlier you do it, the earlier you are going to be free from the binds of active addiction that are just awful. So I would say again, be supportive, but don't enable, and be very careful about that thin line, because you can easily cross over to being an enabler, and that's not good. That is not going to help them, it's only going to hurt them. So sometimes you have to give tough love. So yeah, guys, I can always do a part 2 if you want, because I have many more questions here. But I hope this was informative, and if you're struggling, please reach out. I will put information in the description box for you, hotlines that you can call for help that are anonymous, that you can get information about how to get help in your local areas. Also, there's Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for the family that has been affected by the addict. So those meetings are for you that might be dealing with a mom in addiction or a sister in addiction, and they're free. They are free of cost, and you can do them right online. So, you don't have to worry about walking into a room of people you don't know. You can just sign in online and go into these chat rooms that are these Al-Anon meetings. And they're very informative, and they help you feel not alone, and can help you to start healing. So, anyway, thank you guys so very much for supporting me and giving me this outlet to help others and to help you guys relax. If you could please give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below and share it so that we can get this out to as many people as possible, because, like I said, addiction is being overshadowed right now with everything going on in the world, and I know those things are very important as well, but so is this. There's so many people dying